Mine is Scott DeCarlo, the police officer who stopped the 5 dancing Israelis on 9/11. Scott, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me, man.
Scott, we talked a little bit prior to this interview about this whole matter.
Right.
And I said to you just before we started that you and your story are in 9/11 legend and lore, and you told me that you just don't know why, right?
That's correct.
Now, Scott, this is the first interview you've ever given, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's a video out there on the net that was done by some production company where they filmed you, I guess, for about a minute or so. But besides that, you've really never spoke out about this particular day, right?
No, I don't see a reason to.
Okay. Well, let's start from the beginning. You're a police officer in New Jersey on 9/11. I guess you're working in the afternoon. What shift were you on?
I actually wasn't working, Dave. I was off that day. We had pretty much a full department recall after the incident took place in New York City. At that point, we all got put somewhere and did what we had to do.
Did they call you in like right in the morning when all this happened?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I don't remember if I called them and said, hey, do you need me or what, but the entire department ended up going in.
Right. And what happened?
Basically, we had to shut down traffic on our highways to prevent traffic going east of our jurisdiction towards the city, to try to ease up the traffic issues and try to ease up pressure on the police departments that way so they could do what they could at the Trade Center site.
Okay.
I was posted on the highway.
You're talking about like Route 3?
Yeah, Route 3 and the service road right out by the turnpike.
Okay, near the Meadowlands.
Correct.
I guess you could see the towers from there, couldn't you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
How did the day unfold?
We were out there for hours just trying to work with traffic, and the public had no idea what was going on, and we really didn't have a full knowledge of what was going on. So, tempers are flaring and people need to get home, but we weren't able to let anybody go east of our jurisdiction at that point. So it was a rough day, to say the least, all around.
So this was probably in the morning, and then in the afternoon, what happened with that call about that white van?
There was a bolo, which is be on the lookout for a particular van with, there's supposed to be a few occupants in there. And the bolo basically stated that this van may be on its way to destroy the George Washington Bridge or something like that, if I remember correctly, and blow up the bridge, and perhaps explosives were in the van or something. So we were out there, and of course we're all looking for it, and it just happened to come our way. There were several officers out there. I grabbed my sergeant and I said, hey man, that's our van. It wasn't the exact plate given either. It was off by one numeral, I believe, and I'm like, it's got to be, it's just too close. So we ended up stopping him.
So you were the one who noticed it, not your sergeant?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but we both were there. We were all there, so.
You noticed the plate wasn't right, so really it was you who eyed this?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, that's significant. Because if you didn't have a very good attention to detail, then it might have just gone by and none of this would have happened, because this was a very significant part of the whole 9/11 mystery, and it continues to be. And that's why there's such great interest in this. You saw the van drive by on Route 3, is that right?
Yeah, it was coming off the turnpike and hitting the service road trying to get on Route 3.
Then what happened right after that? Were you close enough to run next to them? Did you have to get in the car? What happened?
Oh, no. Traffic was basically rolling at 2 miles an hour, so we just basically stopped it, just got in front of it and stopped it.
You walked out in front of it and you stopped it?
Yeah, we just put our hands up and asked them to get out of the vehicle. They didn't listen, and we removed them.
Do you happen to remember where you were exactly? Were you on the driver's side?
Yeah, I was on the driver's side.
Okay. And did you have your weapons drawn?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And you were pointing the weapons at the driver and you said, get out of the car?
Correct.
And the driver didn't listen?
No.
Now, you've been doing this for a while, right? How long have you been a police officer?
16 years now.
Why do you think the driver didn't listen?
To tell you the truth, I really don't know, but being that there was a possibility of explosives being in the vehicle, I wasn't going to wait and, ask him again.
Did you think about that, why he might not have obeyed your order with a gun pointed at him?
Sure. In that brief moment, yeah, you think about it, and you don't know what's going through their mind. As I stated earlier, the bolo stipulated that there may be explosives in the van, so we removed them.
Okay, so it was him and it was a couple other guys. It was, what, a total of 5 of them?
Correct, yeah.
Did you have any idea at that time the nationality of these men?
No, sir, but when we removed them, I forget which guy it was, kind of chatty, but hey, we're not your enemy, we're your friend. Our enemies are your enemies, or whatever. At that point, they said they were from Israel or something, and I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was something along them lines.
Did you think that was something strange for this guy to make, an unsolicited comment like that?
At the time, I didn't put much weight to it. If you're up to no good, you're going to say anything to make me feel better at that point, right?
I guess it just seems kind of a strange thing. On this website here that I mentioned to you earlier, historycommons.org, they tell the story here. They say, "We are Israeli. We are not your problem. Your problems are our problems. The Palestinians are the problem." And then it goes on. Yeah, something like that. And then it says, "Again, before the police have made any mention of the 9/11 attacks, another one of the arrested men says, 'We were on the West Side Highway in New York City during the incident.'" Do you remember if that happened?
You know, man, I don't.
Right. And then it says in this article here, in fact, it will later be determined they were on the roof of a building at Liberty State Park watching and videotaping the first crash into the World Trade Center. If this is true, for people to be filming the first crash might be indicative of the fact that they knew that something was going to happen. Did you get any feeling from these guys that they knew anything about the incident?
No.
Nothing.
Nope. I didn't see any video cameras in the truck. You know, I don't know if these were the guys, you know, that everybody claims was videotaping. I don't know that. Basically, my job was to stop it if this were, in fact, the van. On the Bolo, that's basically it. We didn't spend much time with them. We didn't interview them. The FBI arrived. We brought them over to the state police holding cells in the stadium area.
So how long were you actually with them before the FBI arrived?
Maybe 15 minutes before we actually brought them to the holding area. We weren't going to keep them out there.
Sure. How were they acting when all this was happening? Did you take note of that?
They were under arrest. I mean, they weren't really happy.
Were they resisting arrest?
No, they didn't resist, but there were a lot more of us at that point than there were of them.
That was a concern of yours, though, that there were only 2 initially and there were 5 of them, that things might have gotten out of control?
No, that never crossed my mind.
Did they come quietly?
Once they were in handcuffs, they didn't resist at all.
Were they chatty, like that other fellow was?
It just kept kind of saying, you know, hey, look, you know, we're on your side kind of thing, if I remember correctly.
Then it says one man is found with $4,700 in cash hidden in his sock. Another has 2 foreign passports on him, and a box cutter is found in the van. You didn't have anything to do with looking through the van, did you?
No, I didn't inventory the van, but keep in mind a box cutter in a moving van is too out of sorts.
Right, sure. I mean, $4,700 in somebody's sock is probably...
Well, if they're a moving company and they got paid, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not to speculate, you know.
I mean, all we can do is speculate. It becomes academic at this point. But again, to this day, 10 years after 9/11, people are intensely interested in you and what happened that day.
I don't see why they're interested in me. You know, I told you before, I get a lot of interesting emails, you know, asking me about that day and my Facebook or my MySpace. And I have nothing to say. I mean, everything that I'm telling you is that's all we did. You know, we stopped them. And, you know, the FBI came along and interviewed them.
You stop them. They don't get out of the car initially for whatever reason or reasons. We don't know why, but they didn't. One would think that with a police officer pointing his weapon at you, you would do as he says or she says right away. We
transported them to the, like I said, the state police holding area inside the Meadowlands and Giant Stadium, and that's the last I saw them. I didn't actually see the FBI take custody of them. We left them with the state police there.
And that was it? You were done? Did you have to go back to the office and fill out a report, or did you do it right in your vehicle?
No, the report was done later. We were still out on the highway for quite a while.
When this happened, you probably didn't think much of it, right?
No, I didn't. Once we dropped them off, you know, my mind was on the devastation 7 or 8 miles away. You know, the people that perished there and you know, all the damage and whatnot to people's lives, buildings and whatnot.
Did you find out later on the significance of these fellas that you stopped?
Yeah, but you know, as far as I knew, it was just perhaps we had the wrong van, if there was another van or whatnot. And you know, to this day, I couldn't even tell you if we had the right van, if these guys were the ones that were wanted for cheering or dancing or whatever they were doing, supposedly doing anyway. You know, I have no proof that that was them. I just stopped the van. It was off by 1 numeral on the plate, and we did what we could at that point. And if it wasn't them, then I need to apologize for them for you know locking up the wrong people. But I did what I had to do, you know, at that point, and what I thought was the right thing to do.
Did it get physical at all when you had to arrest them?
I wouldn't say it got physical. I mean, we just physically removed them from the van. I mean, they didn't resist, you know, in any way. We kind of manhandled them, put them in handcuffs, and did it as quick as we possibly could because as far as we were concerned, it was a very dangerous